Morning, everyone, and welcome once again to the Windward Buddhist Temple's virtual Dharma service. Today, we will be remembering those loved ones who have passed away in the month of March. I will ring the daiki, or the large bell, after each name is read, and then go immediately to the chanting of Sanbutsuge, which is found on page 46 of the Red Service book. We will begin the service with the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana, found on page 7, in Praising Amida's Virtue book. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Hagie Yanagi-sama, Edward Inaba, Taichi Nishita, Masao Asada, Howard Nakamura, Miyoko Kusano, Kyo Kukino, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Kogengi Ijing Mugok Yose Emyo Muyo Dosha Nichiga 만만히 주고행요 아이신옴배 연약의 주목 묘라이여행 조세무링 조각나용 고르지보 가이몽쇼징 삼마이지에 이도금의료 셔쇼개의 진다이센냉 쇼분호가이 거징징노 그거가이다이 무묘요근의 세송요무 민노시시 인도금의료 그건고나이 지혜징묘 고묘이소 신노나이생 강아섬은 사이쇼호 간호쇼지 미프게다 버세조이 가이닝쇼징 요새 삼마이 지혜이조 오세이 도금의 불교시강 일사이 그그 이사나양 계시음은 약센 오금망 무료나이쇼 신여고자 의요이사이 지도쇼는 근여근호 겐쇼 흑약 인여고자 쇼분세가이 무브가게 무슈선노 고묘시쇼 헨시쇼곡 묘세쇼징 이징남교 료가사분 고구도 나이시 고슈기묘 노조조셋 고근요나용 니무도소 가도 아이밍도단이사이 지뽀라이쇼 신능쇼조 위도가 꼭 대락완농 고분식묘 생아싱쇼 혼강노히 리키쇼쇼역 기뽀세송 지혜무게 조려시송 지가신교 계려신시 조그도 근주 가교쇼징 닌주프케 나만다무 Namanda, 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 Namanda. The recitation for today is Shinshu Pledge 1. Let's put our hands together. I take my refuge in the vow of the Buddha. Reciting the name, I will live through life with strength and serenity. I revere the light of the Buddha. I will put my effort in my work with self-reflection and gratitude. I follow the teachings of the Buddha. Discerning the right path, I will spread the true Dharma. I rejoice in the compassion of the Buddha. I will respect and help others and do my best for the welfare of humankind. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning once again, everyone. And welcome to the Windward Buddhist Temple's virtual Dharma service. As you know, each month we ask family members who have lost loved ones, including pets, during the current month, regardless of the year, to submit their names and pictures if available. We will then read the names individually and in turn ring the bell as their names are read. Well, before commencing to my Dharma talk for this morning, I want to comment briefly on the pandemic that has been with us for over a year. With the arrival of the 3 vaccines, we in Hawaii are slowly experiencing a significant downward trend in infected cases. But as such, as we slowly open up again, we are currently seeing an uptick of cases, and that is understandable, because we have been in a cocoon for such a long time. Yes, we do miss socializing together with family and friends at each other's homes or at restaurants. We miss going to sporting events. I too miss going to see my grandson at his events. Then too, we are having Sunday services either via Zoom or other venues, such as what you are watching now. It's still not the same, though, as gathering in our respective temples together, seeing our Dharma friends and socializing afterwards. But more than ever at this time, we must look at the Buddha's teachings of the 6 paramitas, and especially that of shanti, or patience, and forbearance. And it has been put to the limit for us. In practicing patience, we can learn to live just another day and keep doing this daily, as the pandemic is surely coming to an end. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. As the 6 paramitas is a Mahayana practice, we can all help each other by practicing shanti. As all things are impermanent, this pandemic will soon end to a new normal, as they say. So let's all help and encourage each other, expressing patience and forbearance as well. And now let's put our hands together in gassho. My eyes being hindered by blind passions, I cannot perceive the light that grasps me. Yet the great compassion without tiring illumines me always. We who aspire for Amida's fulfilled land, though we differ in outward condition and conduct, should truly receive the name of the primal vow and never forget it, whether waking or sleeping. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. 2 weeks ago, a horrible event took place in Atlanta, Georgia, where 8 people were massacred, gunned down in Wild West fashion. 6 of the victims were Asian Americans, and loved ones were greatly affected by these incidents. And just this past week, we witnessed again news of the horrific mass murders of 10 people in a Boulder, Colorado supermarket. The gunman was an immigrant as a young child from the Middle East who grew up in the area and was alleged to have been bullied throughout his growing up years because of his name and his religion. These 3 occurrences brings a new light into how hatred, bigotry, and systemic racism are spreading not only there, but throughout our country as well. Although these acts are as blatant as those affecting the black community, in Buddhism, we know that what affects others also affects us. It is just as hurtful to all as well. The deaths of 8 people, 6 of them Asian American women, have changed the climate. The climate has changed because of the words spoken by the former president in describing the Corona 10 virus. Hurtful words like the China virus or the Kung Flu virus are used to discriminate against Asian Americans because, as you know, words have power in how they are pronounced. Like when he called it the China virus, or when he told an Asian American woman reporter to ask China about the virus, not him. Fortunately, our current president and vice president are also using powerful words to attempt to try to heal and to bring the hope that will change the climate. In a recent Dharma talk by Reverend Miyamura of the Midwest Buddhist Temple, he related that somehow the history of hatred and discrimination in this country against Asian Americans has been all too common, and that it was only against Asians that laws have been directed. And these started with the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 that prohibited the Chinese immigrants from coming into the United States. They were the only immigrant group that was specified, that was prohibited from entering the country. Then, too, in 1942, through Executive Order 9066, there was widespread imprisonment into concentration camps of 120,000 people of Japanese descent, both American and foreign. More recently, we have immigrant groups from the Philippines, Korea, Middle East, and from many southeastern countries who have not been fully accepted by all. Stereotypes that have been depicted in movies, caricatures in magazines are not helping. Stereotypes about Asian women in movies as docile and subservient are really not helpful. They are largely thought of as faceless, quiet, invisible, or as sexual objects that have persisted in the media and popular culture. These stereotypes are really hurtful and they're harmful. Asian Americans, different from other immigrant groups, were not fully accepted as citizens. And now there are daily news stories about Asian Americans that have become victims of hate crime. But as Vice President Harris has reminded us in a speech in Atlanta recently, that an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. She feels the pain of attack on the black community on her father's side, and the pain of the attack on the Asians from her mother's side. So she does know in a real way that attacks on any one community is an attack on all of us. We know that race is only one factor as a category for targeting in hatred, prejudice, and bigotry, but also religion, creed, sexual orientation, and many other things are the basis for discrimination and prejudice, leading to bigotry and to hatred. We have to be concerned for our safety as an Asian American, brown American, black American, all Americans when we go abroad, or even here, as we have observed hate crimes, even in this aloha state of ours, although very rarely. Well, what can we do as Buddhists? Or what should we do? As a Buddhist, we know that discrimination, hatred, bigotry, and systemic racism are harmful actions, and that we are all endowed with the three poisons. But ignorance is an excuse. Hatred, bigotry, and discrimination are learned behaviors. So then we must learn to build bridges to work and to live in harmony. Let us all share the Buddha Dharma by our actions with wisdom and compassion everywhere, whether on the mainland USA, Atlanta, New York, Oakland, San Francisco, LA. We need to spread the teaching of Pratitya Samutpada. Shinran Shonin says in the collected works of Shinran, those who feel that their own birth is completely settled should, mindful of the Buddha's benevolence, hold a Nembutsu in their heart and say it to respond in gratitude to that benevolence with the wish, may there be peace in the world, and may the Buddha's teaching spread. So each of us then has to do our part in our capacity to share and to build a more harmonious world. Last week there was a BDK Fujitani Interfaith Forum on overcoming polarization. One of the presenters was a Dr. Kahu Ha'aheo Guansen, who is a kahu and an Episcopal priest. And she stated that in the Hawaiian culture and religion, everything in the world exists because of others, and that we are all interconnected and interwoven together. Everything exists because of others, and that although each has their own differences, we live together in harmony. The Buddha said, people of the world, parents and children, brothers and sisters, husband and wives, and other family members and kinsmen should respect and love each other, refraining from hatred and envy. They should share things with each other and not be greedy and miserly, and always speak with friendly words and a pleasing smile, and not hurt each other. Shinran places a great role on the role of karma in human behavior, and he constantly advocated and pleaded with his followers to act with respect and propriety toward members of their community, society, and other religious groups. There is a principle in Buddhism that we're all aware of, that life is interdependent. Nagarjuna, first master in Shin Buddhism, reveals in the doctrine of dependent origination that all mental and physical states arise from and depend on conditions, and that we are a product of many influences that create who we are and how we feel. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, the problem of human rights and human duty to other people must be considered in relation to the commandment of the Supreme God, whereas in Buddhism, the same problem should be grasped in relation to all living things in the universe. Whatever arises, for example, mental states, is conditioned by all preceding events. Past events may not determine, but influence what comes next. In other words, then, we cannot put blame on others, as we are all to be responsible for what happens in our own way. Finally, in closing, I quote from Prince Shotoku Taishi, an imperial regent of Japan who lived in the early 7th century, who promoted Buddhism after the religion was introduced into the country. He was instrumental in writing the 17-article Constitution, of which Article 10 reads, "Let us cease from wrath and refrain from angry looks, nor let us be resentful when others differ from us. For all people have hearts, and each heart has its own leanings. Their right is our wrong, and our right is their wrong. We are not unquestionably sages, nor are they unquestionably fools. Both of us are simply ordinary fools. Both of us are simply ordinary people. How can anyone lay down a rule by which to distinguish right from wrong? For we are all one with another, wise and foolish, like a ring which has no end. And so let us all practice metta and compassion to all beings." Let me read now the loving kindness metta. "May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May I be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to me. May I live in peace and harmony. May my family be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my teachers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. And may they live in peace and harmony. May my friends be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May strangers be happy and well, and may no harm or difficulties come to them, and may they live in peace and harmony. May my enemies be happy and well, may no harm or difficulties come to them, may they live in peace and harmony. May all beings be happy and well, may no harm or difficulties come to them, and may they live in peace and harmony. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much for listening to this Dharma message. We will conclude today's service with the singing of Many But One, followed by the Nembutsu.
Buddha Oh, we are many but one. We are one together. Here and now. La 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 la.
Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida, Namo Amida Butsu. When we say Namo Amida Butsu, the countless Buddhas throughout the 10 quarters, surrounding us 100-fold, 1,000-fold, rejoice in and protects us. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Well, I'd like to thank you all for attending this virtual Dharma service. Will you join us again next week? No, I'm sorry. Next week we will not be having a service. So please tune in and watch the statewide Hana Matsuri service that's sponsored by the Hawaii Buddhist Council. Thank you.